Okay, so the point of I suppose going through some of this stuff at the start is that we speak to customers all the time and often find out, especially customers who've been with us for quite a while, that lots of the new stuff we've released over the past 2 years or even three years since we started, lots of people aren't using them because they're not in their account that often. They maybe miss some of the email updates about some of the new features, and we just want to have a time to share them with you so you can see them. You might be using lots of them or all of them, but I think there's a good chance some of you might not be using them all. So hopefully everybody can get something out of this. And if you have any questions or anything, then ask away during the call, and we'll either stop and take them or we'll keep them to the end. So feel free to ask away. Okay, so I think we're going to start with Steven. You're going to talk us through some of the more recent releases.
Yep, cheers, Gavin. Thanks for coming, everybody. I'm just going to walk you through a few things that you probably have seen before, you may know about, but also then a few things that we've released in the last few weeks that you may not quite be aware of yet. So I'm going to start with dynamic pricing. So dynamic pricing is a feature that you can turn on for any unit type. So you can come to your unit types and set up rules which will allow you to increase the price on the storefront of a unit type based on the occupancy level. So you see here for this rule, when a price is greater than or equal to 95%, the storefront price is going to increase by 20%. And then you can see below here that the base price is being increased. And you can set up as many rules as these as you like. You can set it up to decrease as well if you like. So if you were to save this form, you would see that that price is going to change. I'll quickly jump over here to the actual unit type in the store, and you can see that this price here is the storefront price, and that is the dynamic price. The best way I would advise to check in if your dynamic pricing rules are active would be to come down to this page, and you'll see here the rules, and you'll see what's active. So active is always highlighted in this orange color. So yeah, that'll be active on your storefront until your occupancy changes, and it'll live change based on a unit becoming available or unavailable when it takes it beyond one of those thresholds that are set.
Yeah, it's a really interesting feature because it's lots of the big operators use stuff like this and they're changing prices all the time. So I suppose one of the things we've always wanted to do is try and bring the tools that the big guys use to optimize the revenue and to build a great business and make it available to all operators, smaller operators, people who've got one site, people who've got 10 sites all using Stora. So this is a really important thing to play around with, even if it just boosts revenue by 2 or 3%. That goes straight to the bottom line. So it can be a very valuable feature, and some of our biggest customers have been using it now for a few weeks and getting some good results. So definitely a good one to check out.
Yeah. I think there's a question there from Richie, and we'll probably take questions at the end. If that's okay, we'll just wait and do those all at once. We'll do a bit of a Q&A. Okay, so the next feature I wanted to show you is what we call action nudges. So again, on the unit type, you can set what we call an action nudge. This is a tool we're giving you to let you draw attention to specific unit types that you're selling on your storefront. And you can see here, it can be toggled on and off. You don't have to use this, but you can turn it on like this. And basically it gives a frame and text around unit type based on what you set. So here we have a preset for most popular, but you can click to something else, say like a free welcome gift, change the text, change the color to whatever you want. We recommend only doing this for as few unit types as possible because it really needs to draw attention. And if we were to save that, then go to the actual, say, booking form here, you'll see that that appears on the form. That'll appear anywhere in the storefront where the unit type appears. So that's action nudges, definitely worth checking out.
And one little thing to mention on that is there are some UK regulations around what you can say here. So we've enabled this, but make sure I think it's there are some recent regulations in the UK about saying it's the last one if it isn't the last one. So just be aware that you can use this, but use it responsibly.
It's the regulations aren't quite confirmed yet. It hasn't actually come into UK law yet.
Okay.
But it's potentially to come down the line, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so the next feature I want to walk through was deposits. So again, deposits are set per unit type. If you come in here, you can see there's a security deposit section, and you can set this up for each unit type of any amount you like. And what this is going to do is bill the customer immediately upon booking whatever deposit amount you've added. So if you come again to the booking form, you'll see here we have a £50 deposits on this, and you can see it's going to be coming out based on the text here. And you can withhold this if there's a reason why the customer may have left the unit unclean or whatever. You want to take a cleaning charge, or you can refund it in full. There's a full system in Stora to track that. And anything that's withheld, will be tracked against your revenue correctly too. The next up, we were going to talk about capital, and Gavin's going to run you through Stora Capital.
Yeah, so I don't know if anyone's had a chance. We've seen quite a few people have applied. I don't know how many people on this call have had a chance to check this out, but we've partnered with Approved Finance, who do a lot of financing for self-storage operators in the UK. What we've tried to do here is, I know from my own sites, there are times whenever you want to grow or buy some containers or do some more fit out, or even just have working capital. We want to make that as accessible as possible. So what we've done here is, if you're in your Stora account, you'll see here in the top left, there are four options here for funding. The top left is working capital loans, and that's based off the revenue that's going through your Stora account. So you've pre-qualified for that amount of a working capital loan from Approved Finance. So there's working capital, and then there's container capital, and they have a specific funding like agreement there in place for containers, where I think it's your first 6 months or £18 a month for a container, and that's designed specifically because they know that it's the first 6 months that it might sit empty to keep the cost down. So that's also a really interesting option. You can also get funding for an indoor fit out, and you can also get funding for the purchase of land or warehouses or anything else for new sites. So lots of our operators are opening up new sites. Lots of you watching this are probably in the middle of doing that, and this is just an option for you if you find that the terms are suitable and work for you, then great. So this is here, and it's in your account. So feel free to apply. It'll put you in touch with the team from Approved Finance. They'll get in touch, and that's all managed with them. And they will move it forward from there. But it's just really to try and help people get access to finance if they need it.
Thanks, Gavin.
By the way, Steve,
so now
I can't see any questions, so I'm not sure if I've looked in the wrong place, but you may be the only person who sees questions. In case you want to.
No, that's okay. Thank you. So now we're going to talk about some new features that we haven't announced yet. All of these are live in your account, so good chance you've come across it if you're already a Stora customer. But I'm going to walk you through them anyway, just so you have an idea of how they work. So the first one is related to switching customers to Stora. So we're moving more and more operators across, especially from other software platforms. So maybe they have like existing customers with payment methods set up in some way other than card, for example. And we're encountering a lot of people have some anxiety about the switch, and it's mainly just around like the effort and making sure everybody's happy, the customer's happy, there's no issues in the switch. So we're really thinking about how do we develop more tools that make it easy for operators to bring their customers to Stora and ultimately get them set up with automated payments. And to do that, we have released a few features, which I'm going to show you here now. So to start, on a subscription now, when you're creating it, you'll be able to pick the option to automatically link their payment card. So this will only appear if you're adding it via manual payment method. So a lot of operators would switch their customers over to Stora on this first, and then try to get their card added, either by the portal or via the operator on a call or in person. And now, whenever that happens, it's going to link it automatically. And so that's one aspect of this. And the next aspect is if we go to a customer here in Stora. So if the customer is paying by a manual method, you'll now see this banner. And this is going to give you a new tool which makes it easy to get them to add their own card. So here at the top, we have this section about encouraging customers via a welcome email. So this email is an email we've designed, which is all about welcoming the customer to the new way of they will be interacting with your business via Stora, and asking them to create their account and link their card. So you can see a quick example of this email here. You might be better sometimes talking to the customer first to let them know it's coming, or you can just send it and let them know after. But what will happen here, this flow is optimized from here to really get them to add their card themselves, so you don't have to chase them for it or add it for them. So they'll come in here, create their account, and there'll be a banner at the top of their customer portal when they're in there to say add your card. And that could be sent either when you're creating a subscription or at any time from here. You just click this button and you can send it immediately to the customer's email and file. And hopefully that'll make your life a lot easier when it comes to getting customers moved over to payments, card payments in Stora.
And yeah, exactly. And the point of this is just that the more customers generally that you have paying by card, the admin of chasing payments goes away. And so if you don't have a card when you're signing somebody up or they want to pay by bank transfer, that's fine. But this is a tool to help make it easier for you to get those people to put in a card at some point over time, so that ultimately it saves you a lot of time chasing people up and gets as many people as you can on the card, because that is even direct debit's an option too, but the card payment flow just it works very well with the retries, and we do see that bad debts and missed payments is lowest on the card payment method. So that's why we're trying to make that as easy as possible for you.
Definitely, yeah. So a few more small things from me before I pass over to Gavin. Next up is on the analytics platform. So to date, you've only been able to pick date ranges from our preset options here, but now we've got a nice handy date range picker. So you can come in, pick any date range, and that will filter the data. And this will basically give you exactly what you need. And if you're in a report and you use this, it'll export the data exactly those dates as well. And you can even pick a single day if you want. So you could come in and just click twice on the date, and that's going to show you the data for just that day as well. So hopefully that makes it even easier to get just the data you need out of Stora. And next up, a small feature, but an important one that some of you will be happy to hear exists if you haven't stumbled across it already. You can now delete your own units from Stora. So you come in here now, you can see that the ability to delete units is now right here. So any unallocated unit can be deleted. Until recently, we didn't want to make this available because we want to make sure that nobody was making a mistake. We want to ensure the customer experience for every operator's customers doesn't get affected. So that's why we, until now, haven't made this available, but we have now. So it should work pretty well, and you won't have to hassle us to do it for you. So next up is subscription cancellation reasons. So when you're canceling a subscription now, you'll have this option to add a cancel reason. The cancel reason is a preset list here, which we've kind of worked out. Hopefully we'll cover pretty much every scenario. And the great thing about this is it exports in your subscription data too. So say in a year's time, you could take all of your subscription cancellation reasons, analyze them, and see if there's any opportunities to maybe you'll spot a consistent issue in your facility or something else that could be improved. So hopefully down the line, this will become a really useful bit of data that you start tracking. And two more small things for me. So if we go to the storefront here, to date, we've had images for units, containers, and things like that, but we get more and more customers come to Stora with different needs. And that's why we've got 3 different types of new images created that you can use completely for free. So we have safety deposit boxes, lockers for anybody using smaller locker units, and vehicles. So vehicles is quite a popular one. There's lots of car options in here, camper vans, boats, motorbikes. We've got pretty much everything there covered. They're just in the image library as normal. So when you're creating a unit type, you can just select that image and use it instead. And the last thing is, if you see down here, we now have the ability to have your storefront in any language. So if you're operating in, say, Europe, and you've got customers with different needs when it comes to that, they can come to Stora and just select the language that suits them. So it'll instantly update. You get to pick the options that they can select from. And yeah, it'll just change it instantly for them across the storefront. I think that's it from me. Gavin, if you want to take over again.
Sure. Yeah, we even one of our Welsh customers asked if we have it in Welsh. It's even available in Welsh. So I checked. It's also available in Irish. But anyway, I can't imagine that's going to be needed. But anyway, it's very flexible, lots of languages. I think before I go on, I'm just going to go down and try and answer some of the questions that have been related to some of the stuff we've gone through. So Charlotte has asked could you let me know if the deposit needs to be manually refunded? So yes, manually in that you go into Stora and click a button to action the refund or not. Isn't that correct, Stephen?
That is correct, yeah. So if you were to come in here, say we go to invoices, you can select type. I'll just find a deposit invoice here just to show you. So if you view this subscription and scroll down, it's as simple as really you come in here, click settle deposit, and you can refund it in full, or you can say, let's say you want to refund £20, and you can then send the customer an email about that automatically and confirm that. And it's basically as simple as that. And it'll track how much has been refunded. And you can keep doing that as well. So if you want to say come in and refund the rest of it, you can do that, or another partial amount.
Yeah. So exactly. Yeah. So you action that once you work out if you're giving them the money back or whatever, then you take the action.
Yeah, and it's worth saying on the home screen as well, it will flag that there are outstanding deposits to be refunded once the subscription's been cancelled.
Right. I'm going to come back to Anthony because he's got a few, and I'll do them all in one go. So Carl asked, can dynamic pricing also be applied to protection? So that's the insurance sales. At the moment, no. It's just applied to unit, but that's a good idea. Richie has asked, dynamic pricing, Richie Miller, is the only option to link rules to occupancy. For example, airlines, increase the cost of tickets the more you go to the website without buying. Is this possible? So that's a good question, Richie. And so the dynamic pricing we've released, I would refer to that as supply-based dynamic pricing. So we are changing the price based on your supply, what supply you have. And that's, I would say, the sort of step one for dynamic pricing. It's the easiest one because we've access to the data. This product will continue to evolve, and in the future, we'd like to move it towards demand-based dynamic pricing, which is what you see on airlines and Booking.com, where they're able to take some data, like, for example, how often you visited the website, and use that to assess the demand from you, an individual customer, and then adjust the price based on that. So that's a much more complicated piece of technology, but it's on a roadmap, and it's where we want this dynamic pricing to eventually go to, because every other industry does it. So we want to give you the option to turn it on if you want to. So I'm just going to come back to Anthony. Carl asked, is delete a unit type active? A unit type active? No, it's units, isn't it, Stephen?
Yeah, we haven't done unit types yet. There's more to that. Obviously, there's units. There's units associated with unit type. So there's things we want to make sure are covered there before we unleash that ability on you too.
Yeah. So Richie, then we'll come back to Anthony, all your questions. Richie asked, are deposits held in Stripe or our banks? Can we link a new bank account for just holding deposits? It's processed through your Stripe account and sent to your bank the same way all the other payments are taken. So it's exactly the same. So it doesn't go into a separate account. It isn't held by Stripe. It's processed by you, and it's up to you then to manage that. So I'm just going back to some of Anthony's questions here. Is there potential to automate which units get action nudges based on rules similar to the dynamic pricing? There is potential. We don't do that yet, but we do at the moment, and some of you might have this turned on. You can automatically have your unit type delisted from the storefront if there's none left. So we already have that connection, storefront to supply. So that would be something we could look into, where ultimately you really would like the action nudges to be automatically turned on when you actually have 3 left. The action nudge comes up and says last 3. That is probably a better way to do it. Or even, if you're two away from the price going up, it might say last 2 at this price. We will be working towards automating all of that and letting you set some rules and choose which ones you want to be on and off. But for now, we've just released it so that you can manually do it yourself. Anthony also asked, when moving from another system, is it possible to bulk email customers to get card details, or do they have to be done one at a time? For now, one at a time, Anthony. But one of the things that we may do is kind of something where you can sort of click, anybody that isn't on card, email them all at once. We haven't released that yet, but that's something that would be sensible for people moving from another system, because you might have 2,000 customers to be sending those emails to. So yeah, that is a sensible thing for us to do, and we have talked about that already. Anthony's question: why does the security deposit get charged at booking rather than alongside the other move-in charges? The reason for that is that the move-in the other move-in charges are charged on the morning, or sorry, the day of the move-in. So, you know, if somebody's booking for next Thursday, they're not going to be charged their move-in, like their actual rental, until the Thursday morning. And so the point of the deposit is that, you know, you're getting that earlier. It's signaling a commitment. So that's done at the time of booking because of that. If it was done at the same time as the other charges, you wouldn't be getting it until the morning they move in. And most of the people we've spoken to wanted the deposit at the time of booking, because they wanted to signify a kind of a commitment. That's why we haven't done that. But I'll be happy to talk to you about that a bit more, Anthony, after, and see what you were thinking there. So I'll do a couple more, and then I'll get on with the other thing. Or stuff. It's a plan to take deposits with direct debit. That's from Finn. It is, so it's not possible at the moment, Finn, like you've noticed. Yes, I think I don't see why we wouldn't in future. We just haven't done it yet. There's one from an unknown. Is there a way to remind clients to update their card data once the card ending date is approaching? So that's an interesting one. So Stripe generally, I'd be interested to talk to that person, because Stripe in the background are normally getting the updated cards. So for my sites, I've never seen somebody's card expire for that reason. Now maybe Stripe don't always do it. Maybe they miss. Maybe there's some banks maybe can't do it with. But I've never seen a card expire, because Stripe have that bit of tech in there to go and do that. So we don't have that because of that feature from Stripe. But whoever that is, if you let me know if that's happened to you, I'd be interested to know when that has happened. I'm going to come to the other three in a bit. Well, maybe not. I'll come back to the other questions shortly. Okay, so where am I? Okay. The first, I'm just going to mention two quick things before I get into like a top 10 tips here for how to maximize the benefit of Stora. Two things are, I released a video yesterday, and it is an enthralling video talking about insurance. So I'm sure you've already seen it because it's so exciting. But it was a 10-minute video where I spoke with Adam from Basel Fry, and we went through a step-by-step guide for how to change your insurance. If you're insured with Basel Fry, you will be aware that they're moving from insurance to Store Protect for what you're selling to your customers. There are some changes you have to make with your contract, with the terms and conditions on the website, and with what you're telling customers. So that article is a step-by-step guide for how to do that. And there's a video too. So if you go to that article, let me see if I'll share the link here now, if I can find it. I don't know if you can find it, Stephen, but I've got it. I got it. Maybe Stephen, if you have it, I don't actually have it in front of me at the moment. So if you'd be able to share it in the chat there, that's a link to the step-by-step guide. And we're here to help. If you have any questions, give us a shout. So that's a really important thing for anybody renewing insurance, to make sure you get that right. The other thing is we've a lot of customers with using Paxton Net2 for their gates. If you are one of them, where that is, I think it's ready now. Paxton Net2 integration for gates. So if you have any, if you want to get it turned on your system, reach out to support, and we'll start the process of getting that turned on. So Paxton Net2 is a very popular gate system, and we've been being asked for it for, I think, almost since we started the business 3 years ago. So we finally got around to doing it. It was a trickier one than some of the others. So that's also available. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen now. Let me see. Okay. Okay, so this is a top 10 tips, and actually end up with 11. Always have a hard time getting 10. I get carried away. Okay, so the first thing I was going to say, and this really isn't anything to do with Stora, except Stora does make it easy to change your prices. But we're coming into a busier time of year. When we look at the industry report after this, you'll see that it is sort of April, May, June, July. They're the times you get lots more move-ins, lots more square foot move-in, more revenue growth. So there is more demand at this period of time. So the first thing I would say is review your pricing. If you haven't already, it may be a good time to pump some of it up a little bit if you think that you can handle that. That's just one thing. So I would say number one, review your pricing at this time of year. Number two, I was going to say, take a look at, so in analytics, if we go to, this is just a demo account, so these numbers aren't the real numbers or anything, but take a look at what your insurance sales are as a percentage of your storage sales. So on average across Stora, I think it's about 7.4%, but the industry average is more like 10 or 12. So, what I think a lot of people have sometimes left the insurance pricing just at kind of default prices. So I would just review your insurance pricing. If it is below 10%, it may be worth bringing up some of your insurance pricing as well. That's always a good place to just be aware. It's a nice revenue line. So take a look at that too. Number three is all website related. So there's we've done a lot of work to the website over the past sort of 6 months. The website and also the online checkout. And one of the things we do come across when we're talking to customers sometimes is that there hasn't been a lot of, I suppose there's a lot of easy wins on the website. So Steven has, where is the, here, okay. So in our academy, so if you go to this link, there's a lot of stuff here about tips. There are guides in here, lots of stuff about ways to optimize your landing page. And the reason this is so important is this is the first thing your customers will often see. And a bad impression here can just destroy your conversion rate. So it's really worth taking the time to invest in optimizing your website. A few tips here. We have now in the online store, we've got different fonts, so you'll be able to go in, change your fonts, and make let your website look a bit different, a bit more personalized. You can change layouts. You can add video now, embeddable video to the homepage. Lots more personalization options. So take a look, and if you're take a look at what's available now, and maybe take a bit of time personalizing the site. One of the things that Brian mentioned to me earlier is he sometimes sees people with quite bad pictures on the website, so grainy pictures, grainy images, pictures that the place doesn't look very clean and tidy. So make sure whatever you're putting up there, it really is putting the best foot forward for the business. We also have an info bar now. So if you go to go here, the info bar, this is a pop-up announcement that will go along the top of the page. So I'll turn that on here. Save this. It's not going to be the right time of year for this, but you can see that'll pop up there. And this is really good for anything, like any sort of discount or promotion or anything that you're trying to draw attention to. It can be a good way to get people to take a certain action and draw attention to something. So that's in the info bar, and you can set that all up here and have a link to something here. So I would recommend taking a look at that. And finally, SEO is so important for people's websites. You want to get found. You may already have done this, but if you haven't, it's really worth doing. So you can now customize your SEO metadata for your site. So if you go to your site here, I'll go to Coventry. I'm going to go down to search engine preview. You can change this. So this is important because this is the sort of stuff that Google is seeing and using to help you get found. So if you've got multiple sites, especially important to be putting in the name of the place and getting the right stuff into that section there. You can add SEO metadata at a site level, even at a unit type level. So if you've got a 20-foot container or 50 foot, you can even go in here and do it here. So go in and make the time to do these things because it will affect your SEO. If you're struggling with SEO, it's really, really worthwhile going in and doing this. You can also put SEO data onto every one of your pages too. So go in and do that at the page level too. Okay, so that's tip 3, is lots of stuff for optimizing your website. I would take a start at those things I've gone through, but also check out a lot of this guide, which is a lot of it's written by Steven, who has a massive amount of experience of online optimization and website and design. Number 4, and some of you will have set this up as well, but the pop-up form. Now the pop-up form is when somebody's on your website, you can pop up a form and ask them a question or do something, especially if it looks like they're going to maybe leave the page. It can be quite useful. Now, these were very popular 5 or 10 years ago, and you could argue that sometimes they're annoying. They're so annoying. Pop-ups are annoying. I personally find them annoying. But you can do them in different ways with our product, and you can have them in the bottom corner like little nudges, so they're not quite as in your face. And one of the ones that we find most successful for pop-ups is asking them if they'd like a call back. So if you ask somebody if they'd like a call back with any help, that's a good way to get a lot of leads, so that you have details. If you are running your business where you're contacting people and you're there to call them back, that is a way that we're seeing is getting a lot more conversion of people's details. Get them on the phone, sell them some storage. Yeah, I would look at the pop-up forms, and that one in particular is one I would recommend taking a look at. Okay, so number 5, optimizing your checkout. So I don't think we covered this really, Stephen, but a few months ago we released unit type groups, and I know lots of you are using this already, but the point of groups are that you may have 2 different types of 25 square foot units, for example, ground floor, first floor, at the front, at the back. You might want to charge more for your 20 foots at the front gate than the ones away at the back, and you can now group them. It'll show the price from, and then you can select, and then you'll have them listed here, so people can then choose. So this is really popular in the US. It's called good, better, best pricing, where you can kind of say, units from £10, and then you've got a choice, 10, 15, 20 a week, whatever it might be. So that's one way to do it. We've got a bunch of different examples here. You can also, if you prefer to break them down by basic and premium, you can do it that way. It's very flexible how you do it, so it's up to you to implement this whatever way you like. You can break it down by indoor, outdoor, deposit boxes, lockers, vehicle parking here. And then I think this one has a different one, which is small, medium, and large. So it's up to you how you group them. Depends how you're selling your units and everything, but it's there to flexibly help you get people through a flow, and ideally upsell a little bit where you can as well. So take a look at that. The other thing I would just recommend, or something new was a kind of a smallish thing, but could be really worth taking a look at, is you can edit the wording in your discount code text now. I'm just trying to see if I can find one here with a discount. Maybe that aren't in here. I'll bring up store stuff, which is, I know we have discount running there. Okay, so in this, in here, this 50% off first month, you can now go in and edit the text that's shown there. So it allows you to be a bit more flexible. Some like when I was at Fidessa there in October, we went to Shurgard. I think it was October. Went to Shurgard, and Shurgard in where was Fidessa? Rotterdam. Shurgard they do a thing where it's £1 for the first month, and I don't think anyone's doing that in the UK, and we might not need to. It's a heavy discount, but this gives you the flexibility to do whatever you want. So you could say £1 for the first month, and you just saw our little thing pop up there as well. So if you are running any sort of different type of promotion, want to try different types of promotion, this is you can do that here as well, and that will be done from discounts. This is the storefront text. You can edit it right here. Okay, so that's more connected to this discount. That could be impacting your conversion rates as well. Okay, so that's number 5. Number 6, so the next 6 are a little bit quicker. So tasks. We know that some people are using Task Manager. This is a relatively new feature, but we're finding people use this for callbacks to customers. So using this for callbacks, you can connect it to customers or unit types. People are also using it for maintenance. So checking a unit's clean, you can have it there. Make sure to do that. And also people you can use it for business tasks. So potentially write a blog article, and maybe you set yourself a plan for the next 6 months, and you put one in a week, whatever it might be, and you can use this for that as well. Now, this is the start of something a lot bigger that we'll be announcing quite soon. So it's sort of feature 1 of a load, but it's useful already for managing your tasks. Okay, number 7. Lots of people probably doing this already again, but let's say you're closed on Sundays and you don't want people moving in on a Sunday, because maybe if you're like me, sometimes people moving in, you get calls and you don't want to be bothered on a Sunday. You can turn off the date people can move in on, the day of the week. So if we go in here, you can unselect Sunday here. So that means that people can't book a Sunday as a move-in day. Now, if you're open Monday to Friday and you're a manned site, you might not want people moving in Saturday or Sunday either, so you can do that too. So it's just flexible there about what way you let people move in and when. I wasn't going to mention this, but you can also edit how soon people can move in and how far into the future. You know, if you're pretty full, you probably don't want people booking 2 months in advance, because who knows if you'll have availability. Okay, auto allocation is another one then. So I don't know if anyone has this turned on. I know some people do. Automatically reserving units from bookings online. So this is auto allocation of units. So if somebody books on your website, our system can move the unit into a reserved state for you automatically. So the way we do that is if somebody books a 50 square foot unit, it will look at all your 50 square foot units and it will pick the next one in reverse order, alphanumerically. So you know, if you have 100, 1 to 100, it'll go to 100 and give them out 100, and it'll keep going back until it finds one. Now that's a very interesting feature. If you have smart entry at your gate, then this combines to actually mean that, you know, if you let people book on the same day, and people can book the same day, they could actually book from outside your gate, pay, pass their ID check, sign the contract, and just our system will instantly give them the code and they can move straight in. So it's an important part of what we call 1 minute move-ins, which is the sort of group of features that allow you to get people to move in, let people move in straight away. And I've had that on at my sites sometimes as I sort of test it out, and it's great because, you know, sometimes on a Sunday I just see in my email if somebody's moved into 100 square feet and they haven't phoned, they haven't called, I haven't had to spend any time, and they've gone in and moved in. So that's automatically allocating units, and then also automatically deallocating units at move out. So this is if a subscription is still allocated at the end of the move out day, it will automatically deallocate the unit. So that makes it available. I'm actually not entirely sure whether it's available then or whether it's kind of ready to be. It's in a sort of a hold state. Stephen, maybe I presume it becomes available.
Yeah, it's available.
Okay, yeah. So it becomes available. So I think it might be something for us to look at in future to move that into a kind of a pending state. You know, if you're as an operator want to kind of check that it's clean, and then you can move it, you can automatically move it to available. But for now, it just makes it available. So those are good features to turn on to save you time and hassle as well. Automatically updating the unit on the website. So that is allocation at a site level, I think. Is that, if you want, yes, this is it here. You can automatically update your storefront status. So if this is on and you've run out of units, it will convert the status to out of to collecting leads instead of letting people book it. So you can turn that on too. Okay, that was number 9. Number 10 is this is one that Brian mentioned to me just earlier. Is if you go to invoices, well, actually, if you go to the homepage, this is a good way to see. You know, all of your awaiting payment invoices are sitting here. So, you know, you can click on this and go straight to all the invoices that aren't paid. Now, I wouldn't be very happy with this number if this was my real site. This is just a demo account. But what Brian was saying is it's worth just reminding people that if there is an invoice that is in kind of retry mode, you can go in and retry it yourself anytime. So if you're in an invoice and click on View and Stripe, this is in demo mode, so it won't bring up Stripe for me. But if you click View and Stripe, it loads up a page immediately where you can just retry a payment. You just click on a button to retry it, and you can do that yourself manually. So, you know, if it is retrying, you can go in and retry these card payments yourself, and so that's always a good way just to keep on top of what's going on. That was number 10. Final thing I was going to say is just on the sitemaps. So the sitemaps are color coded, and if you know what the colors are, it actually is pretty helpful, and it can be a really useful glimpse at how the business is going. So just to say what the colors are. So green means it's occupied. Red means it's overlocked. I don't actually have any here, unfortunately, but we'll have one that's showing this is a reserved state. So green is occupied, light green means it's in reserved. So that is the status that happens. If somebody books online, they're moving in 3 days, that unit is held for them, so it's reserved. So light green is reserved, moving in. Dark green means it's occupied. Red means that it's overlocked. Purple means that it is in repossession mode. And then we also have there's a blue. This is actually there's nobody in that status here, but there's blue, which means they're moving out. Stephen, maybe you can help me here. Blue is moving out.
If you see, there's a little key there on the right, Gavin. If you click the 4 square icon, it'll show you all of them in the colors.
Okay, brilliant. So moved out is blue and moving out is light blue. That's it, yeah. So it's quite a good way just to make sure, like, once you've learned the colors, it's a good way to kind of just keep on top of what's happening at the site as well. Anyway, that is that's my 11 things. Let me just see. We're sort of running out of time here a little bit. I must have waffled on for far too long there. So maybe let's look at questions for a second here. Just make sure I haven't missed anything major, and then I'm just going to go on to just 5 minutes on the report. But I do want to leave some time for other questions. So Luke Davis asked, will there be an automated late fee coming soon? A small penalty that gets charged. Yes, that's on our roadmap. We don't have a date for that, but yes, absolutely, that is coming soon. Richie Miller, can you set a limit for how far in advance customers can book a unit? That was answered there. So yes, you can. Stephen posted that link. Paxton 10 from Liam. What about the Paxton 10?
So I can answer this. So it's only possible to integrate with Paxton Net 2. So if you're using Paxton, there will be no option for any integration that isn't Net 2, from my understanding. And this is a limitation on the Paxton end. There's just nothing we can technologically do to achieve smart entry with any other Paxton system. So I think that's a good point to be aware of. If you're using Paxton, you will have to move off something like Paxton 10, I believe. You can raise that with Paxton yourself, maybe request something, but there's nothing we can do on our end, unfortunately.
Richie Miller's asked, can we add the SSA logo to the website, and can we add a font we want if it's not on the list? So SSA logo, I don't see why not. Stephen, not sure.
I suppose, yeah, it depends where you mean, but there's obviously countless places you can add images, but we want to add more. So probably I've had it requested before in the footer. We will definitely add more flexibility to the website in the future for things like that. Yeah, and on the font, Richie as well there. We can add fonts if you get in touch. We can add certain fonts from Google Fonts, basically, because we built on top of the Google Font system. So if there's something in Google Fonts you find that you would like added, reach out to support with a link, and we can look into it and see if it's okay.
Some really interesting questions, actually. Here, just about things that we can do as we keep progressing this, as we keep investing in the product and developing it. Question from Anthony: will the pop-up be made more customizable? Currently it collects data, but it would be good if we could send customers to the page instead. That's a good point. I don't think you can do that yet, Stephen. Could we?
Everything's possible, yeah. It's just always, as you can see, this is part of our battle, is everybody's got so many great ideas, and we can't do them all at once, unfortunately.
But it isn't possible today, but it would be.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no reason why it couldn't be done.
Yeah. Dave Jones has asked an interesting question. Can the move-in day be restricted by type? So it can't. I think it's set at the unit, at the site level, isn't it, Stephen?
Yeah, technically you could set up different sites to have different types, but obviously that's a bit of a hassle. So not currently, no.
Not currently, but that could be. We could look at that. Richie, auto move-in. Sorry, does it do this only once the contract is signed and ID verified, or is it possible for customers to move in without signing the contract and verifying ID? So currently, you'll know that our contract will use a third party. So we don't have the ability yet. This is going to change very soon, but we don't have the ability yet to confirm if it's been signed in Stora. You will get an email as an operator to say it's been signed, but we don't get that email. We and our systems don't talk to each other. Now, once we've done that, then the goal will be to allow you to set some rules. So whenever you want, if you're letting people just move in straight away, you'll set a rule, let them move in without doing anything. Now, I wouldn't recommend doing that, because you should always have a contract. I was chatting with Rennie a couple of weeks ago about the contract, and they would really recommend you never let anybody go in without a contract, and I can see why. So we'd like to let you set some rules, and that would ultimately, I think most people would opt for only give them a code when they've passed their ID and when they've signed the contract. But that isn't available yet. But that, I would say, in the next, pretty soon, that will be one of our big priorities, to make sure that's all done, so that people can't move in without doing that. At the moment, we leave it to you. So the system shows you if they've verified their ID. You get an email to say the contract's been signed, and then that's up to you to set rules as you see fit. But we could definitely make that easier for you. I have a question from Storage Den. It would be good if customers could upload a photo of the unit when they move out. Yeah. So if they upload a photograph when they move out, they could, you could see it's empty, and then you could make a decision on the contract. And it's funny, we've actually, I remember talking about that 3 years ago, Stephen, if you remember, about all sorts of stuff we'd love to do, and even passing that photo into to somebody externally to check, or maybe even AI can check it and then let you know. But yes, at the moment, no. But I don't see any big reason why that couldn't be implemented relatively easily from the customer portal. So that's another very interesting idea, which Sarah appears to agree with. David Greer, so if a customer hasn't verified the ID, can they be sent a message to verify? I can only see skip verification. I'm not sure, but that, Stephen, do you know what happens there if they haven't verified the ID?
They do get notified before they're moving again. So if it gets a day or 2 days, I can't actually remember, but it's before they're moving, they will get reminded to do it again. There's no current manual way to do it, but obviously you can message them directly too and just remind them to log in and do it. Yeah. So it's 10:02 here, and I did say to some people that I was going to share some of the industry insights from our report. So I'm going to just pause the questions for a few minutes. I'm just going to bring up our industry report, which I hope you all had a chance to look at. We released this in January, and this is, it's we're not trying to compete with the UK's report. We just thought we'd take the 300 facilities we had in the UK, put it all together into something that would hopefully give customers insights. And our goal here is to get this to the point where a lot of this data is in your Stora account, and it's visible there, and you can see trends. So whenever you look at your analytics page, you can see what's happening elsewhere. Like, am I ahead? Am I behind? That sort of thing is so helpful to let you know that maybe there's something wrong with my site, or maybe you've gone down by 10% occupancy, but maybe the whole industry has, and so maybe it's like, well, actually it's an industry move, or it's all about trying to help you run a better business. So this is the first sort of version of that, and I hope you've all had a chance to look at it. Because of the time, I'm just going to pull out a few things that I thought were interesting from this. If you haven't got this already, then I would encourage you to go and download it. It's on our website, stora.co. I think there's a bar at the bottom just to take you straight to get a copy of it. It's free, so go ahead and get it. One of the things that we saw, one interesting thing here is in square foot moved in, moved out. You can see it really is July where the biggest amount of move-ins happen, but also move-outs as well. So that's why we talked about this. Coming into a period where we're busy. This is a busy period for self-storage, so potentially a time to review your pricing, and you'll see that a bit further down as well. What we saw as well is containers occupancy levels growing a lot with containers over indoor storage, and we saw in general a kind of a shift to lower cost units. So we saw that 25 square foot units, the occupancy rates grew at 10% versus 150 square foot plus at 1% in 2023 amongst our Stora customers, whereas containers, we saw a 30% bump in occupancy in containers, which would, we'll have to be careful about what data we're using here, and some of our operators are growing quickly as well, but that certainly implied a move towards lower cost, more affordable units. We also, so the summer demand peak is just again here, it's shown in the number of new bookings in the month of July. So something to be aware of. The booking source data. Yeah, so I thought what's interesting here, I thought was, as we've brought on more bigger customers, we have seen the bigger customers tend to be less inclined to show prices online.
And there's various reasons for that we're going to talk about a lot more over the next few months as we release some of our new features. But we've just seen that the most bookings still come through the website, but there is a kind of a bit of a shift there as some people, if it isn't on the website, it's done over the phone and in the back office. So some of our operators are not showing the prices, collecting the lead data, and then calling the customer and converting that way. And depending what way you run your business, it appears that that can also be a very successful way to run your business. It is more time consuming, but can work well. Another thing I was going to say is I'm just going to go to. I have to go quite quickly here. Most people pay by card, but I was going to talk about discounts. So here we have discount popularity, and which 40% of our customers are not discounting. And I think one of the things we hear quite a lot is it's very tempting to discount, and sometimes there's an encouragement, to sort of, do you need a discount? Is it really because if you don't need to, then don't. We obviously enable any sort of discounting, but it isn't always something you have to do. It shouldn't be the default. Lots of people don't do it and do very well without doing it. So yeah, there's lots more in that report. I would encourage you to take a look at it if you get a chance. Overall, though, occupancy levels are up a lot. Rate per square foot is up. The average Stora customer grew their monthly revenue by 50% last year versus the year before. There's a lot of growth going on in this industry. It's a good time to be here, and it's a good time to invest in it. So lots of good stuff in there for everybody to take a look at. Okay, there's 5 minutes left. Why don't we take a look at the if there are any more questions at all? Reese Jones asked, somebody asked, can you recommend electronic lock access for outside storage units? So it is a bit more of it is a trickier problem to solve. This, how do you manage access for containers if there are no staff on site? And I actually had a call yesterday with a customer who's coming on board, and he was asking the same question. And I actually thought it might be a good topic for us to try and have a conversation on, potentially on the community, and try and get a few operators to sort of chip in with how they've solved this problem. And then we could hopefully maybe write up some sort of a guide on different ways to approach this. One way I've seen it done, the most common way I've seen it done, is have a gate system, a smart entry system on the gates, and then people leave the containers unlocked with a padlock inside. Just buy cheap padlocks and leave it inside, and tell people your unit number 10 is a padlock inside. Bring your own padlock. I've seen that happen a lot. And then on the gate, you can have give any system like Bearbox is very popular. A lot of our customers use Bearbox, PTI, OpenTech. There are quite a few. We've got a page now with interviews on them all, so you could use any for that. But yeah, actually having locks on the containers, it's a bit trickier. I know Janus they can replace the end, put a roller shutter on it, and then put a Noki lock into the roller shutter. So that's an option. I'm sure there are other smart entry systems coming out now as well, from I think Sensorberg, PTI, and OpenTech, I believe, from the top of my head. So you could use them on any of those. So that's an option. But I think we should put together an article, Stephen, a help article over the next month, try and write up different approaches here and how they work, because it's not always that clear what the best way to do that is. Reese Jones, was the answer to the question of how far in advance customers could book covered? Yes, it was. So it's up to 3 months, and you can bring that down to any number of days. We have a question from Eve Williams. Is there a way we can charge padlocks to move-ins through Stora? So we do have an integration with a store, so you can sell boxes and padlocks. We've a few customers who do that. So yes, you can do that integration, Eve. There's a potential other ways I've seen this done that we don't yet support, but will soon, is just having it in if it's just a padlock, having it in there, having it in the checkout flow in Stora. So that might be an additional thing we could do, and we've looked at. Another thing I've seen people do is actually rent padlocks to customers, which it can be quite a nice revenue stream, and something I'd like to add into our checkout as well as an option where you can add a £1 a week or £2 or whatever you want to charge into the subscription. So yeah, the way to do that now would be the integration with our storefront, Eve. So if you want to chat to our support, we can talk to you about how we do that. Anthony, can we block move-ins for unverified move-ins? Yes, at the moment, no. Well, except you could turn off automated. You can turn off auto allocation. That's why I would do that. But for now, we haven't just built that feature that I talked about earlier, where you can choose. It would be nice to be able to just set some rules. You as the operator, you decide what are the rules, when do we let people move in, and I would imagine it would be once they've passed their ID and signed their contract. Eve, not sure if I missed the answer, but if we press skip verification for the ID, does this automatically send a reminder notification to the customer to complete it? Do you?
Yeah, so that skip verification is basically skipping the requirement for the verification, so it doesn't send anything to the customer. And it might just, usually it's used if you say the customer's come in and showed you their ID in person or something like that, and you just don't need that to be shown to them in the portal or for them to get any reminders about it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's yeah. So it will not send any more reminders. Oh, Anthony, yeah, you mentioned the roller shutter door with Noki. Great. Yeah, that's I haven't actually seen it, but yeah, that is an interesting option for containers. And then we have one more question here from Christian. What's your experience of the 1 meter cubed lockers you stack 2 on every 1 meter squared? Is it a growing and popular type of unit? I have no experience of this locker personally in my sites. I haven't put any in. I'm sure we do have customers doing it, but I've never actually looked into the data or know or spoken to anybody who does it. So do you know much about that, Stephen?
But we were looking into it recently a bit when we were deciding what additional images to get made, and could see more and more people renting out lockers and trying and converting little spaces into lockers. It's definitely growing, and I think we'll see more and more of it myself too.
Yeah. Anthony has said there, and he'll have a lot of experience of this. He said they're great in student markets, which I can understand that.
It's even great just for like people might be like looking to rent a unit for a few days to store a bag or something like that. We even have people turn up at our own store office trying to leave a suitcase with us before.
That's right. During the Stora Christmas party with a bottle of wine open. That's right. Although one of the things I'd be interested, if anyone is using those, I was wondering about one issue that I've seen at my sites, because it's unstaffed, is letting businesses send deliveries. And I've often wondered whether the lockers might be interesting solution for out the front. If you had kind of 10 lockers at the front, and if you rent a business unit, it comes with a free locker that you can share a code with or whatever and take deliveries into. It was just a kind of a recent idea I was thinking about. I don't know if anyone's any experience of that. I'd love to hear how anyone has been solving business deliveries at unstaffed sites. It's one of the things that I think is a limitation sometimes to unstaffed sites. David has said that he has cubes and the uptake is very low. That's interesting. There's a couple of comments there then. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So yeah, quite a few people are saying lockers haven't been great. Okay, yeah. Okay, well, it's 11 o'clock, and I've done all my talking for the day. No, so unless there's any final questions, I think we'll leave it there. And thank you very much, everyone, for joining. It's great to have everybody on. And anything more that we can do to help, any other requests or features that you'd like us to focus on, or things we can do to make your life easier, make your business better, let us know. The answer is, as anyone who's asked, it's not always an instant yes, but it's so important to get this information. It helps us develop this product a lot. Final thing, actually, in the next couple of months, we have some really big developments coming with the product and the company. From the product point of view, we're investing a lot of time at the moment in some big stuff around the task management, which is going to really bring that on a lot for operators. From the company point of view, we're growing the business a lot now. We're bringing in 5 or 6 people in the next month or two, and we expect to double the size of the business over the next 9 to 12 months. So we're investing lots more in the product, the team, and everything, just to try and make Stora work as well as we possibly can for you. So thank you very much to our customers for using us, and thanks for all your support, and we'll hopefully keep things moving along as well in future for you. Yeah, I think that's it. Thanks very much, everybody.